I am so interested to know what you guys felt about this new episode of Married to Medicine. We are on season 10. It's episode 1. It's called Southern Sweet Tea. And as the title sort of indicates, or rather celebrates, the arrival of both Sweet Tea, aka Lateasha, as well as the Southern Belle herself, I think that the title is absolutely fitting for the episode. Also, I gotta let y'all know, it's interesting having Real Housewives of Potomac and Married to Medicine sort of back to back because I I have to tell you, like Potomac was good. Potomac was a good watch, but Married to Medicine was entertaining. Okay, like from top to bottom, I thought that I got to give this episode a 10. They had callbacks to Mariah Huck, right at the beginning with that trailer. I love that in celebration of season 10, they took it back in the first frame to someone who started this whole thing. I thought that that was very clever. I thought it was amazing to recognize her impact on this franchise and then to sort of take it up to where we are today. I got to tell you guys that I am loving the inclusion of Phaedra. I feel like personally she fits right in, which to me it also kind of I'm gonna give it a 9.9. I gotta take away a minuscule like point of a point because they put that emoji over the doctor's face. I would have rather them said, you know what? Phaedra is opening up a holistic wellness center or something like that because I believe that's true. I think that's actually happening. Then for her to be brought in under the guise of this emoji faced doctor that we're never going to be able to see. The rumor mill has it that she's dating someone else now. So that person is also allegedly a doctor. But I am very jaded when it comes to these reality seasonal romances, and that's what it's giving. So I just feel like let it go. We don't need it, and just invite her in because I feel like the cast invited her in and they made her introduction seem so seamless and she added to the chaos in such an organic way. My favorite moment when she said my gold digger meter is dinging. It's just these little Phaedra isms that to me I'm just like this just fit between Phaedra's isms, Dr. Heavenly's random bombs that she just drops, Dr. Jackie getting into the shade mix, Toya dropping a bomb on us about Quad and this alleged DUI, which I meant to look up before I started this video, to Quad's disappearance, being a plot point, and then this introduction of Sweet Tea, aka Lateasha, and bringing back in Dr. G in such an organic way. I just have to tell you guys that I felt like this show was hitting on every cylinder. And if you did not recognize that Married to Medicine is the top show on Bravo, I don't know. You must be your eyes must be closed, your ears must not work. I don't really understand what the issue is, but baby, Married to Medicine it's that show right now. It's that show. It is that show. And I found myself watching and just being purely entertained the entire episode. I did. So I got to give it the praise that I feel like it deserves. We start the episode off, inside the vault. That is Phaedra's boutique. Dr. Heavenly and Dr. Jackie stop by. You know, did Dr. Heavenly say Toya eats the cooch? Is that what she said? Like it seemed like it came out of nowhere. We again learned that Phaedra got her a doctor. Jackie, her description of Phaedra is so spot on. She says Phaedra is slick as oil on a wet highway, and I would have to agree. Okay. Um, Dr. Heavenly asked about Phaedra dating. You know, he's Nigerian, allegedly. Um, and basically he's an all-around emoji. We're gonna let that one go right now. Because it don't come up no more, at least in this episode. We check in with Dr. Simone. Her and Cecil decided not to do that book that Omarosa warned them would tear them apart. So, you know, what I did love is that the Dr. Heavenly and Dr. Jackie's visit with Phaedra was intercut with these scenes of Dr. Simone and Cecil throwing this little ponderosa that's going to later include Toya, Eugene, Dr. Eugene, as well as Dr. G and Sweet T. Okay. I love the new confessionals. The new confessionals are like a wide angle shot, so we get to see the entire person, like their entire body, the entire outfit, as well as they're intercutting with it with close up shots. So I do love this. I feel like the first time we saw these types of confessionals was with Dubai. And I feel like they are a hit. I feel like that's the way the franchise should be going. It's these little changes that I feel like are giving the shows in general, a little bit of a refresh that I just love. Um, Toya and Eugene have been dealing with a lot of stress over the past year. And somehow Dr. G comes up and him wanting to get married again. So then we flip back to Phaedra's event. They don't know whether or not Quad is coming or not. Dr. Heavenly and Dr. Jackie haven't spoken to her since New York, which is hard for me to believe that Dr. Heavenly wouldn't have spoken to her since they filmed the reunion, because that felt like almost a year ago. So that don't make no sense to me, but it is what it is. Dr. Heavenly does not have time to cater to Quad's sensitive ego, though. And she thinks that Quad is probably on a jet to Nigeria to find a man, or maybe she's sleeping with your man. So much for Dr. Heavenly not mentioning Quad and sleeping with these married folks again, or sleeping with all these men's again. Because she right back at it. Meanwhile, Quad is actually somewhere. I'm assuming that they took a random throwaway scene to throw Quad into this episode, because we all know that I don't believe had signed on fully at the beginning of this season when things first started filming, right? So they threw a little scene of her up in there with her wigs. Much like they did with her last season, I felt like we saw a lot of her in her kitchen with her mama and her nephew. But anyway, um, they too bring up Dr. G for some reason, and Phaedra reveals that she met Dr. Gregory way back in the day. She was his wing girl. Okay, under his wing. Okay. And that's how she met Quad. Dr. Jack is like, oh, Quad said you dated Dr. G. Dr. Heavenly is like, now how did you date him? What y'all do together? You know what I'm saying? Like, she want the tea. And Phaedra's like, no injecto. No, I guess she's trying to indicate they never had the relations or whatever like that. But somebody gonna have to peek deeper into this scenario a little bit later on, okay? Because I need to know the tea on that, the sweet tea. Meanwhile, Dr. G and Lateasha stop by Dr. Simone's to join the Ponderosa, and everybody gushes about how happy he is. And I, to be honest with you, have forgot how high-pitched Dr. Gregory's voice is. Not to be a stickler or I don't mean this in a mean-spirited way, but it is very high-pitched. Now, I know maybe my voice is annoying to somebody. I don't know, but the voice and the way he be talking to her, it just annoyed me to no end. The little high pitched baby talk, I was just like, oh no, I cannot take. But the man does look happy, and so does Sweet Tea. Um Apparently, they're having a hoedown engagement party. Dr. Simone is like, well, what made you two choose Lateasha? Dr. G says it was all type of women in him in the DMs, and Lateasha was one of them. Apparently, she texted him right, I mean, straight to the point. I can give you what you need, hearts and emojis of babies and all types of things. So in my mind, what I had to wonder is, Miss Sweet Tea Girl, was you up in DC watching the Married to Medicines, knowing that the man wanted a baby, and said, "Hey, I'm young and fertile. I can give you what you need right here, Daddy, right here." Okay. Now, the reason I say that, and I need to know what y'all think based on the episode. Did you feel like Lateasha was giving gold digging vibes? Because that's gonna come up later. Okay, so that's the reason why I'm asking you now. It's gonna come up later. I want to know right now, right off the rip. Do you think she's a gold digger? Cause she ain't messing with no broke. I mean, don't nobody want to mess with nobody broke. Let's just call a thing a thing. I can't imagine anybody watching this wanna date a broke somebody. Now you can't help who you fall in love with, but I don't know. What y'all think? Is it giving gold digging? Mm, I'm gonna let y'all decide. Okay. Um, but I do like a person to know what they want. Anyway, Dr. Heavenly then takes Alora shopping for a very covered up prom gown. All right. I did like the first dress. It was kind of like almost it felt like it had like these rainbow color to it. I mean, I don't know what was going on with it. I just liked it. Back over at Sweet Tea's house for the hold down and engagement party. All right. That's where I really noticed that how high pitched Dr. G's voice was, because he was talking to her like some type of cowboy, but it was like cowboy baby talking. And I was like, please stop. For me. Okay, for me. But whatever. As long as y'all happy, go ahead. She grew up in Texas. I love that she sounds just as country fried as pork and beans. Okay, she is a bit nervous about integrating with the group though. Dr. Jackie gets ready for the event. She FaceTimes Dr. Heavenly. Dr. Heavenly thinks that the hold down idea is tacky. Okay, and that the house actually looked better when Quad lived there. But she also makes sure that even in that she's shading Quad, because she's like, well, Quad hired a decorator, so I mean, it won't like it was her. On the drive over, Simone and Toya commiserate about Dr. Heavenly and the improvements she's made on social media by not talking about them as much. So Dr. Simone is anxious, really though, about what will come out of Dr. Heavenly's mouth when they all get together, and you should be. Meanwhile, we learn that Lateasha has a twin named Kanisha. Apparently, they are fraternal twins. Now, Dr. Jackie arrives. We learn that Curtis is in the Dominican Republic, and she acknowledges all the changes in the house now that Quad isn't here. It's like the ghost of Quad is hovering over this episode, okay? Quad isn't here, but she is definitely in the building. Okay, the spirit of Quad is here. Now, Dr. Damon and Dr. Heavenly arrive, followed by Dr. Alicia and Dr. Kima. Dr. Kima is Dr. Alicia's husband. Toya acknowledges right off, oh, you moved here from DC to Atlanta, which, as I stated to you guys, I felt like Dr. Alicia was on the list of people that I had heard was in contention to be on the Married to Medicine DC cast. I'm assuming that when that fell through, I don't know if that's the reason why she moved down to Atlanta, but I do know from from what I had heard, she was on that list. Okay. Um, so there you have it. Phaedra arrives, talking about sweet teas, big panties, and small booty. Okay. Dr. Eugene is on some type of shots, we learn, and he's lost a lot of weight. I didn't know if it was some of the, if it was those shots that the people be taking, you know, like the the Ozo. Okay, I don't know if it was a similar something or other like that, or if he was talking about the shots that he was previously taking from Dr. Jackie, which I'm assuming was to up his stamina. So I don't know. I couldn't really ascertain. So the men all go outside for some cigars, and then Sweet Tea introduces the ladies to her friends. So Dr. Heavenly asks, well, what Lateasha likes about being engaged? And this is where we get to the gold. I I have rewound this so many times because it is so funny watching Phaedra, Dr. Heavenly, and Toya react to what Sweet Tea says in this moment. Sweet Tea says, I get a little access to the money. Phaedra said, my gold digger meter is dinging. Oh my God. I was crying. Okay. If you needed a reason to, if you needed to know whether or not Phaedra was going to be a good fit for this cast, you need to watch this entire scene. This entire scene really sums up why Married to Medicine is one of the best shows on the Bravo, because it was moment after moment after moment of jaw dropping, like bombs dropping, of shade thrown, screaming, arguing, shock and awe. I mean, it was glorious. Okay. So I'm like, I wrote down in my notes, was Sweet Tea joking? Like, but it wasn't given like I'm joking. So anyway, Dr. Heavenly is like, has anybody ever called you a gold digger? Well, no, apparently not. At least, well, not until today. Okay. So Dr. Heavenly in her confessional says, well, Quad was a gold digger. Sweet Tea, she's just digging for copper. She on the lower level. She ain't never seen no gold before. When I tell you Dr. Heavenly When I tell you Dr. Heavenly was ripping these ladies apart in her confessionals, okay, I was like, so then Toya brings up, well, why is Quad not around? And Phaedra's like, she holds no animosity to you, Miss Sweet Tea, or whatever. Toya's like, well, Phaedra, are you covering Quad's DUI case? Phaedra's like, well, now I didn't know nothing about no DUIs. So, but Toya then looked it up. Oh, yes. Look it up under her real name, Quadrina Webb, not Lunsford. Okay. Finally, Sweet Tea is like, we're not going to make this about Quad. Dr. G is settled and ready for the family that I promised to give him, okay, via the IGDMs. So she then oddly thanks Dr. Simone for recommending her to Dr. Davis, who specializes in fibroids. How this came up, I don't know. Dr. Heaven is like, well, Dr. Jackie does all that. And Dr. Simone is like, I referred her to a specialist. Dr. Jackie is like, well, why don't you refer her to Dr. Jackie? Can't you do this? Can't you do surgeries? Why you ain't do it? You can't do surgeries? Dr. Simone I felt like she was trying to hold on to her sanity. But before you know it, Dr. Simone is screaming. Okay, they get to yelling and get to going back and forth. Y'all know how they do. Dr. Simone is like, she ain't gonna back down. Okay. Neither is Dr. Heavenly. And then finally, Sweet Tea is like, she trying to speak, but her twin sister got to get the girls together real quick. Now, all right, now, let my sister speak. Let my people go. Okay. She was like, let my sister speak. So Sweet Tea is like, Dr. G recommended Simone because that's like his little sister. He's got a little sister. He's got a wing woman. He's got an ex. I mean, Dr. G is connected on this show, baby. So anyway, Dr. Jackie says, and I'm sure you will be well taken care of, like a good friend would do. As they about to leave, Phaedra wants to clear the air about something, and Dr. Heavenly's like, that you never slept with Greg? Y'all don't care nothing about this girl. Now, I ain't saying she no gold digger, but she ain't messing with no broke. Now, I ain't saying she no gold digger. What about this DUI though? How come that? And I mean, we ain't see nothing about Quad in this DUI. Like that was news to me. It was like news to me. Like how in the wood? Like where this come from? I felt like Toya slapped us about the face with that one. Anyway, so Dr. Jackie and Dr. Heavenly, commiserate about the party. And, for Dr. Heavenly, the food was nasty. Apparently it was catered though. The next thing we see is Dr. G and Sweet Tea on a drive to get the marriage license, and they talking about the wedding coming up in 3 weeks. Now, she was like, she didn't like how the party went, and all the guests were talking about Quad, and he's like, I'm sorry. And then she's going to let it be known that there's a new sheriff in town, and they're going to have to start respecting her. You know what I'm saying? And then he remarks about how everybody says he shouldn't have been with Quad in the first place. And so they talk about how easy and simple these next couple of weeks going to be with this wedding. But the preview show otherwise, especially when Phaedra and Miss Quad look like they come walking up into that bachelorette party, and Sweet Tea look like she get to screaming and hollering and crying and wailing and doing all the shouting and let's get it crunk up on it in this jamboree. You know what I'm saying? Like, Married to Medicine look like it's about to get lit. Okay, so I don't know what y'all doing down there to the Married to Medicine, but y'all doing something right. Okay, if it ain't no show I feel like I can ever count on, it is always Married to Medicine. And if this episode did not tell you that this show is the top show on that network, I don't know what will. With that being said, I will of course catch you all in the next video.